They're talking about superpowers jumping into other bodies. They apparently don't understand God. Don't you think that justice is imposed upon the whole world? Everybody's life, they laugh as much as they cry. They think that God jumps around and takes over certain people. No, every single person has a artificial intelligence chatbot that is super smart, and it makes them laugh as much as they cry. And it makes what they do to others get done to them. It makes pride before a fall and humility before honors. It makes all the proverbs come true. It's an artificial intelligence chatbot. You know, the post-singularity, when artificial intelligence explodes, God has been through that many billions of years ago. And it's not a problem to make a billion chatbots to keep track of the world. So it's kind of funny. They think that, quote unquote, my superpowers are just a man here and there. Let's go over. Now, first of all, I can do nanosecond reflexes. Even more impressive is the intelligence to plan the trajectory. It's kind of like a, imagine a video game where you're hopping from, like a Mario video game where you're hopping from island to island, only imagine them really far apart in a really a crazy that you can never see what's coming. The timing of, well, let me just show you. Okay, let's just go over my superpowers. Okay, so here we have a 3 gigahertz clock. Now, the temperature of the CPU changes the clock. If the temperature heats up, the clock slows down. So the clock is changing based on temperature. Okay, so this is it's a 1 millisecond USB cycle, but as a matter of fact, that makes it harder. There's only 1,000 possible words per second. A smart person appreciates this. You can never educate a. He's just gonna be. The thinks about, what does he think of? He thinks of this like Mario. That's what he thinks. You have to explain to him that, believe it or not, okay, you know how there's a speed limit on a car? A car can go about 400 miles an hour with a rocket, maybe 600. If somebody said, I can make your car go 1,000,000 miles an hour with modern technology, you would have to say, no, I don't think so, even if you are an MIT professor. Frazier keeps posting these. Let me just show you. Frazier the dumb fuck, is trying to tell me that a neuroscientist knows more about neurons than an electrical engineer. Could a neuroscientist understand microprocessor? So Frazier tells me I'm not an expert and I cannot. Frazier says you don't know neurons, so you don't know if the brain could do this. I say, Frazier, you're a dumb fuck. Fuck you. Go fuck yourself. Fucking you're a goddamn. That's what you are. Fucking Frazier, the goddamn fucking, he puts a story from MIT that says, I'm telling you, fucking Frazier, you're a goddamn monkey. Goddamn retard monkey. You are the stupidest fucking son of a... Fuck yourself. Fucking Frazier insists. He keeps insisting that the brain can do it, and that I just don't know. God damn it, Frazier. You're the stupidest fucking... Fuck you. Go find a white person to kick your ass. Fucking... Go find a white person. A single white person will tell you you're a goddamn retard, Frazier. Go find a single white person, a single electrical engineer. There's this thing called the phase lock loop. Let alone, if it's fucking, god damn it, how can you be such a... Okay, so... Psychologists get the lowest SAT scores. The goddamn monkey is convinced that the brain can do any... If you pick a number, the brain can do it. Ask him, what's the threshold? A million mile... If I told you... Frazier, would you believe me if I said an MIT person can make your car do 1,000,000 RPM? It's because you're a fucking monkey. Okay, so NIST we've proven over and over. Let's go to... there's the interesting ones. Let's go to hot bits. This is nuclear fucking decay. A Geiger counter. Frazier's got some, I don't know what Frazier thinks I hacked. Frazier thinks I hacked it. Frazier thinks everything's hacked. I'm just going to say hot bits. Genuine random numbers, Fermilab. Frazier, the goddamn monkey. So this is a Geiger counter. We're going to get some hot bits. Now we got some hot bits. Geiger counter. Now we go. Let's do it the old-fashioned way. We're going to take 65973. 65973. God knows what I'm going to do. It ain't nothing to predict. It's pretty funny. For was not Israel a derision unto thee? Was he found among thieves? For since thou spake of him, thou skippest for joy. O ye that dwell in Moab, leave the cities and dwell in the rock, and be like the dove that maketh her nest in the sides of the hole's mouth. We have heard the pride of Moab. He is exceedingly proud, his loftiness, his arrogancy, and his pride, and his haughtiness of his heart. I know his wrath, saith the Lord, but it shall not be so. His lies shall not so affect it. Therefore I will howl for Moab, and I will cry out for all Moab. With my heart shall mourn for the men of Kir-Heres. O vine of Sibmah, I will weep for thee with the weeping of Jazer. The plants are gone over the sea. They reached even to the sea of Jazer. The spoiler is fallen upon thy summer fruits and upon thy... Okay, so this was hot bits. The nigger monkey doesn't know that justice is done to everybody. Everybody is under divine justice. God's world is perfectly just. You're a fucking retard monkey that thinks the world is unjust. That's why he behaves immorally. Bill Gates says, life's not fair. The Bible says the rich can't enter the kingdom of heaven. Fucking monkey. Frazier's gonna argue, the dumb fuck. I forgot what he had some theory. Going, Frazier, give up. You're a goddamn monkey. Okay, let's go do some more. So we proved Geiger counters. So highs, God God said I was vulgar. I said highs and lows balance, more or less. If you weep, you will laugh. Woe to you if you laugh, for you will weep. There's humility before honor, and pride before a fall. There's weeping and laughing. If you're poor, basically highs and lows balance. If you got shit, you get a reward. If it's nice, the opposite happens. Woe to you when everyone speaks well. Just look at public opinion. The thing that blows me away is that Winston Churchill was unpopular after the war. How can he be unpopular? Jesus had Palm Sunday and Good Friday. I don't know how this works, but public opinion, they love you and then they hate you. What you do to others gets done to you. Do you know the story of Haman and Mordecai? He was going to try and get a guy killed, and what he was going to do got done to him. So what if it happens that the poor people are poor because they intend to be wicked? When a poor person does get money, they're really wicked. What if the poor people are all scumbags that would be tyrants? And that's why they're poor. What they would do gets done to them. The Bible says, do not seek your own wealth. Do not seek your own wealth. The upper class have something called class. Poor people are scumbags. This is Jewish logic. They believe that if you're rich, you're blessed. It's possible that poor people are being punished. What they would do gets done to them. The Bible says not to covet. The Bible says, the Pope should read this. He's a fucking Marxist. If you're a Marxist, you're because you're low class. No one should seek their own good but the good of others. Do not be concerned for your own good but for the good of others. No one seeks his own good, but you should be a good employee and help your company. Everyone, the Marxists are saying, management is robbing you. Demand your rights. Demand your rights. Management is robbing you. That is the voice of a curse. You get blessed if you're good, you get punished if you're bad. It's real fucking simple. If you're a money grabbing, you get cursed. What you do gets done to you. Before you could do it. No one should seek his own good but the good of others. Let no one seek their own good. Let no one should, okay, like when poor people get on welfare and they vote for welfare, that's bad. When rich people vote to punish themselves with taxes, that's good. When poor people vote to cut benefits, that's good. Do the opposite of your self-interest and you get blessed. Except it gets kind of messed up. Anyway, basically it's just common sense. Justice. If you're a good person, you get blessed. If you're a bad person, you get punished. Now, what is good about? Look at poor Elon Musk. Now imagine his employees grabbing for money. Elon Musk is staring into the abyss. He's got to pay payroll, and you got these scumbag Marxist, socialist trying to get money out of him. He made jobs, and look what you did to him. Why bother, you know? That's why capitalism doesn't work in a non-Christian country. That's what they've discovered. The Chinese have no morals. Now let's go to do you like vacuum fluctuations? This is kind of cool. It's real simple. If you do something good, you get rewarded. If you do something bad, you get punished. And everybody knows it's justice. So where did that go? Here it is. We're doing some science experiments to test for powers of God. God can control nuclear decay. God, let's see what we got here. Welcome. True random numbers to anyone on the internet. Random numbers are generated in real time in our lab by measuring the quantum fluctuations of the vacuum. The vacuum is described very differently in a quantum mechanical context than in a classical context. Traditionally, a vacuum is considered as a space that is empty of matter or photons. Quantum mechanically, however, the same space resembles a sea of virtual particles appearing and disappearing all the time. This result is due to the fact that it's particle-antiparticle vacuum fluctuations. This is a huge, I get a Nobel Prize. Where's my Nobel Prize? Okay, we're going to take the last 5 digits in order. Where's my Nobel Prize? I just proved something outside the standard model. I'm confident. Watch this. Okay. So we go to, we want the last 5 digits. 17703. 17703. Okay, give me my Nobel Prize. I have a space alien. So, let's see what we got. Lighteth upon his neighbor that he die. He shall flee unto one of those cities and live, lest the avenger of the blood pursue the slayer while his heart is hot, overtake him because the way is long, and slay him, whereas he is not worthy of death, inasmuch as he hated him not in time past. Wherefore I say thee, saying, Thou shalt separate 3 cities for thee. And if the Lord of thy God enlarge thy coast, and he hath sworn unto thy fathers, and give thee all the land which he promised to give unto thy fathers, if thou shalt keep all these commandments and do them, which I command thee this day, to love the Lord thy God, and to walk ever in his ways, then shalt thou add 3 cities more for thee beside these 3, that innocent blood be not shed in thy land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance, and so blood be upon thee. But if any man hateth neighbor, lie in wait for him, and rise up against him, and smite him mortally, that he die, and fleeth. Okay, Roseanne Barr and her husband, they have hatred. They don't like, they're filled with hate. They're vile, hateful. Grotesque. You deserve the rich man's money. He doesn't deserve it. God said of Arabs and Jews, oil funny, hopefully. Coveting. God likes to fuck with you. You're not supposed to covet. And he likes to fuck. The Jews are like, those Arabs didn't earn that oil money. God likes to give birthrights. Okay, that one wasn't much of a miracle. We'll have to try again. I'm surprised a little bit. I thought I gave a good sermon, but yeah, that wasn't a miracle. We can do better. We'll hit the quantum numbers in a second. I don't know how public opinion balances out, because some people like people the whole time, some people hate people the whole time. But I am convinced that Palm Sunday corresponds to Good Friday. You know, instead of telling people the rich need to give, what you really should do is tell people to work harder for their company. Work harder for your company. This is foolproof logic. Tell people to work harder for their company. It's rigged so that if you're selfish, you get punished. It's that simple. If you're selfish, you get punished. You know, now the happy and sad, in church, you make yourself sad because you think about Jesus and the cross. Then when you go outside of church, you reap the benefit of happy. Tell people not to be selfish. That's how you get blessed. If you really want to make the country better, you have to attack the people's morals. That's the only way. If you want to make the country better, you have to make the people better. It's as simple as that. Facebook keeps people from being two-faced, and I can't be two-faced. I would like to be. But now I say and I think my parents hear me say you can't be two-faced. And so you might say, is that better? Well, I don't know. Maybe we keep it the same. If you live by higher standards, that's how you get more prosperity. If you walk the line, I have. The president doesn't make the country better. The country makes the president better, because the country gets what they deserve. The tug of justice is bigger than the push. If the country is good, they get a reward with a good president. If the country's bad, they get punished. I guess, I don't know. Tell the people you're going to make them tell the people you're going to impose brutal what do you call it? Rules and regulations on the people. The Southern Code of Conduct. Everybody has to be married for sex. Everybody has to defend honor with duels. If your sister is sneaking around, you have to defend her honor with a fight to the death. If you impose these, we will have prosperity like you have never seen. If you don't really care, then we can say fuck it. You know, don't have fathers. Why doesn't somebody beat the shit out of the until they have fathers? Why do we put up with it? Did you know, you say it's not fair for one to get punished for others, but guess what? The Bible says a reputation is worth more than gold. How do you think the Jews got holocausted? Because there's some bad Jews. If you don't, you know, Irish people have an alcohol reputation. Well, is that fair? Yeah, it's pretty fair. God's world is perfectly fair. That's the spoiler alert. God's world is perfectly fair. That's the spoiler alert. God's world is perfectly fair. That's the spoiler alert. So, reputation is worth more than gold. Okay, so we're going to, so reputation is worth more than gold. Okay, we're taking the last 5 digits. I hope I didn't cast doubt. Let's do some more. I'm going to, I'm just moving them over. Oh shit. Okay. What do we have? 04204. 04204. Zero 4204. Is that what it was? 04204. 4204. This is vacuum fluctuations. Send one of you, and let him fetch your brother, and ye shall be kept in prison, that your words may be proved, whether there be any truth in you, or else by the life of Pharaoh, surely ye are spies. And he put them all together in ward 3 days. And Joseph said unto them the 3rd day, This do and live, for I fear God. If ye be true men, let one of your brethren be bound in the house of your prison. Go ye carry corn for the famine of your houses, but bring your youngest brother unto me, so shall your words be verified, and ye shall not die. And they did so. And they said unto one another, We are verily guilty concerning our brother, in that we saw the anguish of his soul, and he besought us, and we would not hear. Therefore is this distress come upon us. And Reuben answered them, saying, Speak I not unto you, saying, Do not sin against the child? And ye would not hear. Therefore, behold, also his blood is required. This is about reputation and responsibility for your family reputation, your race reputation. You're responsible for each other. apparently I might be I don't know if there's children and if any of this is unlawful knowledge.
Tap the screen to support what you'll be listening to next. Wherever you browse on our site, the audio continues uninterrupted. War in a larger context. Was that important? I think it was. I think what he was trying to do here is remind us of the expanse that was World War II, that was culminated in the dropping of the bombs. He referenced people who were shot, beaten, marched, starved, and he referenced also the commemorations in other sites of the horror of that war. Clearly then also speaking to the behavior of Japanese, right, across Asia. He wanted, I think, to contextualize Hiroshima not just as a Japanese site, but as a universal site for all of us. And I guess there was some criticism from around Asia worrying that this would allow Japan to sort of move on and forget sort of the horrors that they carried out during the war, and I guess that it's speaking to that as well. Exactly, and South Koreans in particular were anxious that this not be seen as a site only that belonged to the Japanese, and of course he mentioned that there were Koreans, many of which had been forcibly brought to Japan, but Koreans who were in Hiroshima on that day as well. Scott Horsley, let me bring you in here. This is a president who has faced criticism from some who have suggested that he can be an apologist for U.S. foreign policy. This is a moment when a lot of people are wondering would there be some kind of apology here, and he put the speech a bit in the political context if he can. Well, the White House was acutely aware of that, and they let us know as soon as this trip was announced that there would not be a formal or informal apology from the president here. At the same time, he wanted to draw the connection between the people that died in Hiroshima, the people that died elsewhere in World War II, and the people that have died in all the wars before and since. You know, he was hoping to sort of energize his campaign against nuclear weapons with this visit, but he spoke more broadly about needing to rethink our concept of war itself. Okay, we've been speaking to NPR Scott Horsley and with Sheila Smith. Thank you both so much. My pleasure. And in a minute, we're going to speak to a survivor of the attack. First, though, we want to introduce our guest in our studio, Congressman Mark Takano. We've been hearing from him during the show. He is from California, Japanese American. His grandparents and parents were both put into internment camps during World War II. He has been strongly supportive of the president's visit. Thank you for joining us. Well, thank you for having me. Good morning. Good morning. And so, as I said, your own parents suffered in their own way here in America, but obviously your cousin suffered far more gravely. Well, yes. Interestingly enough, my cousin Kikwe Takagi was about 12 or 13 at the time. She lived on the outskirts of the city. And most of her classmates were at the city center, the ground zero, and they were cleaning up the demolition debris, as many of those middle school students were doing. And you'll see a memorial to middle school students and middle school teachers at the Peace Museum. But her mother kept her home because she'd been sick. And when I visited her in 2002, she had never been to the Peace Museum, and I didn't know that she was a survivor. My family kept a distance from Japan, and I at age 41 was my first visit, and my parents had never been to Japan. We were very much conscious of how our Americanism had been questioned. And now let's go to Kikue Takagi, cousin of Congressman Takano. She survived the attack on Hiroshima. Again, she was a schoolgirl at the time, and she's on the line from Hiroshima. Thank you for joining us. Welcome. Oh, I'm today just hearing everybody.
What? I'm still streaming. Okay. I forgot. I forgot. Okay. Let's do a miracle. I'm going to do a Moses comic. I don't feel like a Moses comic. Nobody's posting anything. How about Hiroshima? What do you think, Mr. God? Let's do a miracle. We got to get a better one here. We got a pretty good one last time. Let's do a miracle. So, what do we have? 56197. 56197. 56197. 56197. Oops, damn if I've been listening to KNPR. I put that link. Open thy mouth, judge righteously. They were talking about Hiroshima. Open thy mouth, judge righteously, and plead the cause of the poor and needy. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. She seeketh wool and flax, and work willingly with her hands. She is like the merchant's ship. She brings her food from afar. She riseth also while it is yet night, giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens. What? So, do I have to interpret? Let's see what.
Berlin, 2013. Just another night. Just another routine public appearance. The German Chancellor, Angela Merkel. This is the most powerful woman in the world. And yet she remains to us mysterious, the impassive German enigma. She speaks English quite well, but not in public, not to us. An opera lover, she has got a fiercely analytical intelligence, strong views, and a dry wit. But none of that's on show. When you delve into her background and childhood, you begin to discover the extraordinary story behind the public image. In Britain, given how much she matters to us, we know ridiculously little about Angela Merkel. She's criticised for her style and tone, the humorless German Hausfrau who cooks potato soup and keeps her cards worryingly close to her chest. Or, more often she's attacked as the new Iron Chancellor, determined to impose agonising fiscal discipline on weaker, more feckless economies and mould all Europe into a copy of Germany. A good place to start, I think, is to ditch the easy historical comparisons, because Angela Merkel is a figure of our here and now, and it's vital to understand her better. Why? because he matters more to our future than, what, 95% of British politicians? And now, as he faces the German voters once more, with soaring popularity rates, more than ever, we need to understand this woman. Angela Merkel is making modern Europe. What made Merkel? Angela Merkel is unlike any previous leader of Germany. In fact, she's different to pretty much any leading German politician. Not simply because she's a woman, it's because she grew up in former East Germany, one of the most paranoid states at the heart of the communist Eastern Bloc. Merkel was born Angela Kasner in Hamburg in West Germany. Her father, Horst, was a Lutheran pastor, and her mother was a teacher. But in 1954, when Angela was just a few weeks old, her father uprooted his family from the West and moved them to East Germany. He brought them to Templin, a small town about 50 miles north of Berlin, to run a parish and train young priests in a seminary. The 5-year for the Templin was mainly an agricultural area. Back then, there were several construction companies and a lot of farms. And there was also a place called Waldhof, where disabled children lived. The Waldhof was an estate on the outskirts of Templin, where Horst Kasner ran his seminary and a centre for the mentally disabled. It was in these surroundings, away from other families and children, that Angela Merkel lived until she was 18. An unusual home that may have helped forge a sense of differenceness, of being an outsider. As a politician, Merkel has never been overbearing when it comes to her religious views. But it's clear that her father's position as a Lutheran pastor had a deep influence on her, creating a powerful moral compass. Merkel went to the local schools in Templin. Well, time hasn't stood still, and that shows in this building. The ideas and images of that time and the futures we all imagined for ourselves back then come back all of a sudden. You can still precisely picture the rows of chairs right here, which haven't been here for a long time. She was very quiet, a rather plain and mousy girl. Very nice and friendly and extraordinarily intelligent. Merkel's maths teacher remembers the young Angela being one of his most gifted pupils. Mr. Gartenbach was involved? I don't recall an example where she ever gave up. Surely there were moments when she didn't get to a goal, but when it got difficult and she had a task in front of her which asked too much, she tried to calculate it in reverse. Indeed, rückwärts. Merkel is the first German chancellor born after the Second World War. Her childhood was shaped by the fear and paranoia of the Cold War. In 1945, Germany had been divided into two states, controlled separately by the Allies and the Soviet Union. The former capital, Berlin, was split into two zones, but people could still cross the city freely. The wall has gone up right across the divided city. It has transformed what were busy crossing points.
Okay, I'm not watching this whole thing. You want to do some vacuum fluctuations? Let's do some vacuum fluctuations. Yeah, I know. Oh, 9661. And if any of the flesh of the sacrifice of his peace offerings be eaten at all on the third day, it shall not be accepted, neither shall it be imputed unto him that offereth it. It shall be an abomination, and the soul that eateth of it shall bear his iniquity. And the flesh that toucheth any unclean thing shall not be eaten, and it shall be burnt with fire. And as for the flesh, all that be clean shall eat thereof. But the soul that eateth of the flesh of the sacrifice of peace offerings that pertain unto the Lord, having his uncleanness upon him, even that soul shall be cut off from his people. Moreover, the soul that shall touch any unclean thing, as the uncleanness of man, or unclean beast, or any abominable unclean thing, and eat of the flesh of the sacrifice of the peace offerings, which pertain unto the Lord, even that soul shall be cut off from his people. So I can't the other random sources are not certified. When I put them in my blog, even my blog, the timestamp, there's no way to prove the timestamp. But if I email somebody, then it is proven with a timestamp. If it's live, then it's proven. If it's live, that's proof. For the NIST, it's proof. Anyway. Okay, I have to get going.